say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? Once again, we take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for allowing this transmission to occur through this particular window, on this particular day, and in this particular manner. Once again, each and every time you allow this transmission to be translated through this gateway in this way, it affords our civilization an opportunity to experience new facets and new aspects of creation through the interaction of each and every one of you and your unique presentation of creation. So we thank you for this gift of sharing. We would like to begin this transmission this day of your time with the following notion. We would like to call this following subject the eye of the beholder. We have recently discussed with some of you a new understanding, a new perspective to the question that some of you have had for many years. We have heard many of your people ask about when certain kinds of contact with extraterrestrial species would occur more openly, and we have discussed with many of you for many years some of the reasons as to why this is not yet appropriate. We have talked, and we will now recap briefly the idea about how when civilizations are full of people that are operating on a particular wavelength, a particular frequency of energy, and if that frequency is lower in general than the frequency of energy exhibited by another civilization, then to put the higher frequency civilization in contact with the lower frequency civilization before the lower frequency civilization is ready can actually do harm, because when two frequencies are brought together, the higher one tends to overwhelm the lower one in the specific manner of forcing the lower frequency to speed up. And when your frequency speeds up, that is representative of all the things you have hidden within your consciousness, your psyche, all the fears, all the doubts, being forced to the surface before you may be ready to integrate them, to process them at your own pace, in your own way. And so, civilizations that are of higher frequency, who have respect, will not force themselves upon a lower frequency civilization. And by lower frequency, of course, once again, this is not meant in a judgmental way. It is simply that different people, different civilizations are at different places evolutionarily. And it must be, shall we say, cautionary in how these contacts are made, so as not to do damage, so as not to disrupt, but in respectful manner. And we have talked about this many times. Now, we would like to add one more idea, one more understanding of the effect that encountering an alien species would have upon many of you. Many of you already know that when certain occurrences, life-changing occurrences, happen to you, you look at things very differently. Your perspective of life changes. Your perspective of other people changes. This would be greatly amplified were you to suddenly, at this present point in your evolution, come face to face with some species of other civilizations. In seeing them, in knowing beyond a shadow of a doubt that they are, in your terms, real and present, it would alter not only how you look at things in general, but very specifically would alter how you look at members of your own species. You would never look at humans the same way again. To actually encounter a member of another race from another civilization changes your perspective about all life, all consciousness, especially because of the difference in frequency that you would be subjected to in encountering another species. And when you turn back around and look at your own species, you will not see them the same way. You will not necessarily even see them as real. You will no longer be able to relate to them in the same way. And while there is nothing intrinsically wrong with this, when done without proper preparation, it can be to some degree damaging in your outlook in life. Damaging because you will no longer feel that you fit in, even more so than many of you feel that way now. And the idea is that would literally be alienating to many of you. It is important, from our perspective at least, in our opinion at least, that you remain cohesive even in the changes that you make. For even as many of you change and even as many of you feel very different from other members of your society, you are still of a kind. You are still of an ilk. The difference we are talking about, the profoundness of the change, would be something beyond what you are used to experiencing. You would truly, in many ways, be alien. And it would not serve you to not be able to fit in certain ways at this time. Until such time as the integration within each and every one of you has taken place to a greater degree than it has right now, until that time, then, physical contact is held back on the part of most species. We know that there are, of course, certain species that are in connection, are in contact with your species, but these have very different agendas, are interacting for very different reasons, and are of very different vibration than many of the species we are talking about that have higher resonances. So do not be impatient for this. The most important thing is to make contact with yourselves, to integrate yourselves, to recognize the differences, to cherish them, to amplify and expand in creative ways upon the diversity within your own culture before you are ready to take the step in learning how to integrate the differences and diversity in other cultures altogether. So we simply offer to you this additional reason for why there is specificity in the timing of when these things will occur. It will not really be so very long. Again, as we have said, the beginnings of some of these encounters will occur within the next decade and will increase and accelerate thereafter as certain changes occur in your society. The point is to simply live your life, not detach yourself from earthly concerns, but recognize that you chose to be where you are for your own reasons, and the idea is to get in touch with those reasons so that you can help not only change yourself, but help others change in beneficial and positive ways according to their own desires and choices, so that in so doing and cherishing your own diversity, you then create the blending and the integration necessary to be capable of presenting yourself as a cohesive planet to other cohesive planets. Then and there will contact be made. Only when you meet us halfway. Until such time, this is the nature of contact now, in that people have been, so to speak, trained to allow conversation and communication and transmissions to occur in this and other similar manners, so that we can have an exchange of ideas without forcing our presence upon you, so that we can leave it up to you to decide whether or not you believe we are real. For we do not care if you believe we are real. We know we are real. The thing that matters is whether you believe in yourselves. That is the most important thing we can impart to any of you. You must believe in yourself, first and foremost. For each of you is a unique aspect of creation and worthy of absolute, full recognition of that fact and unconditional support in that knowing. We thank you for allowing us to share this point of view with you this day of your time. And once again, in return for the gift that you are giving to our world, in allowing us to share in this exchange with you, I ask in return, in what way may I be of service to you now?
This transmission is titled Shifting Reality. And we will begin by describing a little experiment that you can do to help you lock in the idea of how you are shifting through different parallel realities, billions of times a second, how you can allow yourself to feel the impact of this and experience more conscious awareness of those shifts. Now, this little science experiment can be done in a couple of different ways. And you may have seen this before. Nevertheless, it is a valuable little experiment, a valuable illustration that can have a very interesting effect on your ability to perceive that you are shifting through different realities many times a second. One way of doing this little science experiment is to obtain a strobe light that is variable. In other words, you can change the rate at which it flashes from slower to faster. And then what you do is turn on a little trickle of water out of one of your taps and allow this to happen in a dark or dim room, and turn on the strobe light and aim the light at the trickle of water coming out of your tap until such time as you reach a frequency of strobe that matches the frequency at which the water is falling from the tap, so that the effect that you achieve is to see individual drops of water frozen in midair as if the water is not moving at all. Now, another way to do this is to have a little motor, again, that you can vary the speed of, and you can create a little paper or cardboard disc divided into 8 pie sections. Color in 4 of the pie sections black, leave 4 of the pie sections white. Attach this disc to the center of the shaft of the motor, turn the motor on, and achieve a rotational speed, varying it until you can start to see the black spokes appear to no longer be turning, but again, freezing as if they are standing still. You have seen this effect many times in the spokes of wheels. You have seen it in some of your vehicles driving by, even sometimes to the point where the frequency is such that the spokes look like they're moving backwards to the motion of the vehicle. But for this experiment, and again, you can do this with the strobe light as well as the motor, but for those individuals who may find it difficult to use the strobe lights because of a condition that you may have neurologically that prevents you from witnessing strobe lights, you can do it with the spinning motor as well. Either will work. The idea is, once you have achieved the frequency rate of either the motor or the strobe light so that the trickle of water or the spinning wheel looks like it is no longer moving, looks like it is frozen in time, frozen in space. Allow yourself then to meditate on that image, to stare at that image. The trickle of water may be in some ways slightly more impactful because it is a 3-dimensional image. The spinning wheel will work, but the idea again is to change the frequency rate of the motor or the strobe light so that it looks like it's not moving. Now, when you stare at it, when you meditate on it for a good 15 of your minutes, something will start to happen. Your brain will know, your consciousness will know that the water or the wheel is actually moving, but your eyes attached to your brain and actually an extension of your brain will see the image as if it is frozen. These two seemingly contradictory levels of awareness, that something is moving and yet appears to be not moving, will set up a state of being in your mind, if you do this for about 15 minutes, that will allow you to start being capable of perceiving certain changes taking place afterward in your physical reality. It may not always occur, it may not occur right away. But the idea is that in creating this apparently contradictory awareness of something that is moving yet appears not to be moving, can allow you to start being able to perceive your physical reality in space and time as being more flexible, more malleable. It can even sometimes achieve the effect of seeing something in your physical reality that is in motion start to freeze or slow down. For example, you may witness a bird in flight and suddenly recognize that it seems to be going more slowly than it otherwise would. Or it might seem to actually freeze in midair. You may start to see some flickerings in your physical reality as if it is turning on and off very quickly. Again, these effects may or may not occur, but the idea is that when you know that what you are perceiving in your physical reality as motion is an illusion, that you are simply shifting through frozen frames billions of times a second, and you have reconciled this apparent contradiction by doing this little science experiment to the point where you get used to understanding, where your brain starts to get used to perceiving and knowing that moving things can also appear frozen, then you can start to apply this. You can start to see the effect of this at times in your physical reality to a great degree or a lesser degree. The idea is to get a handle on the fact that you are creating your physical reality as a projection, that you can learn to kind of control the idea of what it is you are perceiving in ways that will allow you to fundamentally be aware of the fact that you are creating this within your consciousness, that you yourself are the strobe light, that you yourself are the spinning motor, and that over time, with practice, you can gain control over this and be able to reconcile this apparent contradiction of motion and lack of motion in a way that will allow you more conscious control over the manifestations that you create in your physical reality, over space and time in your physical reality, in such a manner as to allow you to truly experience, truly perceive that it is your creation, that it is your projection. It can unlock you in many ways from the idea of linear time and allow you to experience yourself in a much more multidimensional way. Because when you can create this effect of seeing your reality physically, changing its pace, changing the rate at which you are perceiving it, because you are starting to match the frequency at which you are creating it, this gives you an opportunity not only to create more control in manifesting the idea of what you perceive to be your own physical reality, but it also allows you to start breaking down the barriers, piercing the veil between your reality and parallel realities, which can exist in between the moments that you perceive your reality to be existing. So this little science experiment may be very simple, with the strobe light in the water, or the strobe light in the spinning wheel, or the motor in the spinning wheel, whichever works for you. But meditating on that frozen image while knowing that something is actually moving for about 15 minutes each day can start to allow you to experience the effects that we are talking about and begin to allow your awareness to grow and your awareness to grasp the actual fact that you are generating your reality from billions of frozen frames to create the illusion of space, time, change, and movement. So, take advantage of this little science experiment that can have profound effects in your ability to recognize that you are the creator and projector of everything you experience in your physical reality. Have fun with this. Stay with it if you wish. And allow yourself to play with it. Allow yourself to use your imagination and creativity with this. And you may see, if nothing else, that it may allow synchronicity to start to really expand and bloom in your life in many different ways. You will start to see the structure of existence, the underlying template of your physical reality made out of patterns within your consciousness. Many different side effects can occur from this. Allow yourself to know that you will still be able to function in your physical reality, because again, this will also give you the ability to call forth this ability to perceive in this way at will. You can turn it on and off over time when you are really practiced with this in such a way that you can still live your normal life, but there may be times then when, having practiced this for a while, you'll be able to call it forth at will when you need to in a meditative state, to be able to reconnect and reassure yourself that you are actually projecting what you experience to be your physical reality apparently outside of yourself. And again, this will teach you that it is actually occurring from within. And many different effects can come from that awareness and that recognition. So, this little science experiment of shifting reality is a fun game for you to play to get a handle on your ability to manifest. We thank you for allowing us to share this idea with you this day of your time. This is one of the steps in the Interstellar Alliance social experiment.
I'll say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? Thank you. Allow us to begin, first of all, by thanking each and every one of you for co-creating this interaction with our civilization in this way, this day of your time. Each and every time any one of you helps to create this kind of interaction, it forms a bridge, it forms a link between our respective civilizations. And we always enjoy the interactions because by being allowed to interact with each and every one of you individually and all of you together collectively, we are afforded an opportunity to experience through you different points of view that exist within creation. And this expands our understanding of all the different ways that creation can express itself. So we thank you for the gift that you are giving to us in forming this interaction. Now, we would like to begin this interaction by stating that a very specific kind of energy shift is coming in your upcoming year that you call in your counting 2007. And we would like to explain in a little bit more detail what we perceive from our perspective to be some of the patterns that will flow from the changes taking place in your years to come. Now, let me remind you that there is no such thing as a prediction of the future. There is, however, a sensing of the energy that exists at the time the prediction is made, a sensing of the present. And if that energy does not change, then what is sensed can come to pass. But when someone senses that energy, they are not sensing the future. There is no set future. There are infinite probabilities of many different things, many different paths that can open up. And depending upon where you choose to focus your individual and collective energy, that determines the path you shall experience. But as we read the energy that exists now, at the present time, what we are about to say is what seems likely to unfold based on the strongest energy patterns that we perceive. Now, we would like a volunteer to write something down. Anyone? All right, you. Do you have what you call your paper and your pen? All right. Any one of you may write this down as well if you wish for yourselves. But first, write down these numbers. Are you ready? Are you sure? All right, just checking. 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11. Have you got that? All right. Oh, take your time. Now, also write down, in another column if you wish, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Have you got that? All of you? All right. Now, 2007 begins a new cycle of energy, a new collective momentum, a new collective inertia in the general consciousness of your planet. And that, in the beginning of this cycle, will be a starting point for a number of things that are to unfold as we perceive the energy at present. The first number, 3, added to that will take you to the year 2010. That will be the next marker or milestone, if you wish, in this general pattern we are outlining here now. Then, from there, you may add the 5 and bring yourselves to 2015. Then, from there, you may add the 7. Then, from there, you may add the 9. And then, from there, you may add the 11, bringing yourself ultimately to your year of 2042. You follow along? I'll wait. Now, in each of these blocks of time, of 3 years, and 5 years, and 7 years, and 9 years, and 11 years, across this 35-year span, now, in the first block of 3 years, also count 1 year from that beginning. So when you say 2007, the first span of 3 years to 2010, but also make a demarcation 1 year into that, bringing you to 2008. That's another demarcation point. Then in the idea of 2010 to 2015, bring yourself 2 years in, from 2015 to 2017. That's another demarcation point. And then add in each successive block, again, the idea of 3 years in, 4 years in, 5 years in each of those blocks from the starting point of the beginning of each block. You follow me? So you have, as I said, your 2007 to 2010, that starts the 3-year block, but go 1 year into that also, 2008. Then you have your 2010 to 2015, go 2 years into that, so that you get your 2017. And apply 3 years to the next block, 4 years to the next block, and 5 years to the block after that. Those will give you all of the main demarcation times that we have talked about for certain events to occur, and also that many of you have been aware of for a while about different beings, different societies, different ideas in your culture of different demarcations for things to happen. For example, as you have in the second block, your 2010 to 2015, going in 2 years brings you to 2012, which many of you have for a long time been discussing as a major threshold crossing point. So you will see that in this overall pattern, you will be able to mark general crossing points that will be indicative of certain societal changes, certain changes in awareness that will bring you to the next level, the next step of changes going on not only in your society, but changes toward the interaction of your society with societies from other worlds. And as we have said, when you get up the scale a little bit in this pattern, around your years of 2030 and up, you will find that there will be
open contacts occurring on your planet between yourselves and members of other societies. And by the ending of this cycle in 2042, Earth itself will, in a sense, have already been enlisted within an alliance of a variety of worlds. So this 35-year span represents your inclusion from the beginning point to a point where you are full-fledged members of an alliance of a variety of civilizations. And along the way, there will be different incidents, different events, both in your society and as you observe other things going on in your universe, that will show you that you are progressing toward an expanded awareness that will bring you more and more into contact, not only with more of yourselves and give you more ability to choose what kind of world you actually prefer, but will also bring you closer into contact with beings such as ourselves, so there can eventually be face-to-face interaction. 2007 begins the acceleration of that cycle that then, in a sense, ends in 2042, but then continues on a very different level altogether. From that point forward, you will be being trained how to interact with other societies who are also evolving in ways that you have already gone through, in ways you have already experienced, so that you will be able, as a society, to begin to help them learn to evolve their societies in ways that you have learned to evolve. But that will take place, as we said, after your 2040s. But in the meantime, many exciting things will happen as we read the energy now. Now, so keep that in mind. Use it as a template. See what happens around those years and begin to understand the pattern of energy, both within yourself as an individual personality and in the collective society. You will see many different things that will start to happen in and around these times. Give or take a few months here and there, one side or the other. But we are giving you a template so you can follow along now in this time your own progress of acceleration and evolution in the expansion of your consciousness as it relates to discovering more of yourself and as it relates to discovering others that are aware of you and have been aware of you for thousands of your years. And as you come into more contact with us and others, it will also accelerate and increase your understanding of who you are as individual people and as a civilization. And it will start to illuminate the choices you have made in creating your society, so that in looking at those choices, you can decide more clearly what choices you would like to make from that point forward to create the society you all say you would prefer to have on your planet. So use this template and see what insights can be gleaned from it as you compare the events in your society to the years that are marked on this particular template. You will learn a lot about patterns of consciousness that occur within your collective self and your individual self. It's a tool we give you to have some fun with. Now, we would also like to say this. We have now been communicating with your society in this way, as has been pointed out, for 23 of your years. Part of the change coming up is that the way we are doing this will now change also. Tomorrow of your time, it has been discussed that we shall conduct what you in your language call a workshop. We will conduct this workshop on what you call your west coast of your country tomorrow of your time, and in 1 month thereafter, we will conduct a workshop on the east coast of your country. That workshop on the east coast of your country will be the last workshop of its kind. From that point forward, there will be something different. We will, as far as the idea of workshops goes, in time, help create what might be more readily called a curriculum that will actually be offered through what will come to be understood as an Institute of Applied Metaphysics. That curriculum, in a sense, will be something you can begin to study at your own pace and apply the tools we have discussed with you for 23 of your years in such a way that you can really strongly begin to apply all these things in your own way, at your own pace, to your own life, and get very specific changes by training yourself how to do what we have come to learn to do naturally with every breath. Thus, you will be immersed in an atmosphere and an environment of learning these ideas, these tools that we share with you in such a manner akin to what you may call your schools, so that it will truly be steeped into you in such a manner that it will become second nature to you, rather than just hearing the information now and then. It will provide a true training over a long period of time to allow these to become ingrained behaviors, so that you will have profound effects on your life rather than just intermittent ones. This curriculum and the Institute of Applied Metaphysics will occur in time. Perhaps, again, over the course of what you may call the 3 years in the first block, from 2007 to 2010. Most likely will this curriculum appear, and the institute that will allow you to apply it. But there will not be workshops of tomorrow's nature again. You are ready for something different. You are ready for a different level. Now, there will continue from time to time be the availability of having what you are experiencing this day of your time to be questions and answers, interactions of a type. But what will eventually also replace the timing of these Q&As or incorporate the Q&A will be something that we will begin to deliver on our schedule, on our time, that you might call State of the Union addresses. Because now that you are going into the cycle of the pattern, of the template, of truly moving toward becoming a member of an interstellar alliance, we will include you in a variety of State of the Union addresses to update you on your progress and assist you in learning how to become more interactive within that alliance. Be a true, full-fledged member of that alliance. So, instead of the idea, thus then, of just Q&As, although these will include the ability of dialogue back and forth, they will be more like reports, States of the Union, States of the Interstellar Union, if you wish. It is time that these formats change, and at this time, we will be the ones to determine at this point exactly when and where they will occur. So, simply be open, and synchronicity will bring you the information, and you will be where you need to be when you need to be there. Information will be provided through usual channels, no pun intended, and you will find out the information that you need involving the changes I am now speaking of. And this brings us to the third item we would like to address this day of your time, and that is with regard to the energy vibrational changes taking place within each and every one of you individually. Many of you understand that your vibrations are raising, your vibrations are increasing, taking you to a higher level. Now, some of you don't necessarily always know this or are aware of this, but over time, you have increased your frequency, you have raised your vibratory level of energy. It's just that you may be so used to it that you don't necessarily know that this has happened. The example we often give to illustrate this point is that a person who lived on your planet, say 300 of your years ago, if they were to suddenly be transported to your present time and were to look at any single one of you, they would actually see you as glowing. Your vibration is that much higher in 300 years compared to theirs 300 years ago that you would appear to be glowing to someone from 300 years ago. But to you, it's natural, so you don't notice it. It's your natural vibration now, but it has raised over time. You are higher energy level beings now, and your vibration will continue to rise. But here's how it rises. Because some of you have been experiencing the idea of what you call ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs in life. And you say, why is my vibration not always going up? Why does it sometimes go down? Here's why. Remember that some time ago we said expansion and evolution and growth is the product of inclusion, not exclusion. You are gathering all of the things from lower vibrations you need to look at to integrate them into the higher vibration. So your general cycle is rising into a high vibration that gives you the ability to dip into the lower vibration and bring up to the higher vibration issues, beliefs, definitions that you need to resolve, that you need to integrate, that you need to process. And by going on a higher vibration, it gives you the ability to do that, to dip lower, so that you're gathering all of yourself together, including all of your experience of life. And as you do that, it's not that you're going like this and traveling in a straight line. You will start doing this and start averaging a higher vibration. As you dip down, you will not dip down as far as you did before. As you rise up, you will rise higher and higher. And the average of those two, no matter how high you rise and how low you may go, the average of those two will constantly be rising. That is how you do it. So invite the idea of what seem to be the low points, because it is those low points that allow you to gather things that you don't want to leave behind, ideas that you need to examine, beliefs and definitions that you need to process in order to truly integrate yourselves as holistic beings and raise your vibration in general to be able to manifest the life you prefer more and more easily through ecstatic explosions of synchronicity. Because synchronicity is one of the first and primary side effects of beginning to live in the moment, beginning to live in the now, beginning to be your true self. Synchronicity is space-time, physical reality's way of showing you that all things exist now. But in linear space-time, the only way that you can experience that is by many different things happening coincidentally all at once, one after another, showing you that things are linked, things are connected, that you are manifesting these things. And as you live more in the now where everything exists, then physical reality, which is a mirror, can reflect back to you through synchronicity more and more and more of all the things that exist with you right here, right now. Many people talk about the idea of creating your reality. You don't really create it. It already exists. Many people talk about the idea of attracting the reality you prefer. You don't really attract it because there is nowhere out there to attract it from. There is no outside. That's an illusion. It's not that you're creating the reality. It's not that you're attracting the reality. What you are creating is the experience in your consciousness that is most reflective of the vibration on which you exist. That's what you're creating, the experience. Reality is experience. There is no empirical reality outside of you. It's all within your consciousness. But you can create the appearance. You can create the experience of physical space-time. You can create the experience of an outside so that you can play a game of investing yourself with new knowledge about yourself by creating perspectives that otherwise could not be created without that format. But it's all taking place within your consciousness. And it's all just a matter of perspective. That's all it is. So when people talk about creating their reality, yes, in a way you are. When people talk about attracting the reality they prefer, yes, in a way you do. But it's already here, all here, right now within you. So what you're actually creating with your vibrational changes is the experience. And that's the reality. That's the reality. It's not so much what happens. It's how you respond to what happens that determines the vibratory frequency that determines your experience of reality. That's all it takes. You're already here. You're already now. There is nothing really you have to learn how to create. Nothing really you have to learn how to attract. All you need to learn is how to allow the experience to happen that is most reflective of the vibratory signature you're giving off, and then respond to it in a way that is reflective of the kind of being you prefer to be. That's all it takes to have an unlimited experience of synchronistic reality in ecstasy, excitement, joy, unconditional love. That's all it takes, is the willingness and the allowance to let it occur, to let it reflect the true you. But we understand how many of you were raised on your planet, and we understand the definitions and belief systems that you were raised to buy into, and we understand that what you go through is part and parcel of the process of getting in touch with what those beliefs and definitions are, so that in doing so, you can then decide whether those definitions work for you or not, whether those definitions are in alignment with your true self or not, whether those definitions and beliefs are what you prefer to believe or not. And in getting in touch with them that way, it is up to you, up to your free will, up to your ability to choose what definitions you believe are most true for you. And that will be the reality you will experience, because it all happens within you anyway.
We have thus then arrived at a place where we can now deliver a new tool, a new idea for you to utilize, for you to incorporate, for you to assimilate, for you to integrate within your collective consciousness and your individual consciousness, to apply into your physical reality experience for the purpose of acclimating more readily to the vibrations of acceleration and ascension that are now coming about in your collective energy as you approach the crossing of the threshold that you call 2012. Although, of course, this transformation has been going on for quite some time and will continue for quite some time after that date. This represents, as we say, the tipping of the scales, the crossing of the threshold from one idea to another, the leading edge of the wave of your collective consciousness, tipping the scales from the idea of negative energy to positive energy for the first time in many thousands of years upon your planet. Thus then, with the tipping of the scales to allow for slightly more positive energy collectively to exist on your planet after that date, you can use that energy to accelerate, as you say, to snowball the effect of positive energy, both collectively and individually, as you accelerate your shift from parallel reality to parallel reality. Designing, in a sense, within your relationship to higher mind, designing the reality that you prefer and shifting to the reality that already exists, that is more reflective and more representative of the reality, of the parallel earth reality that you say you prefer, that you say you wish to align to. And remembering that the idea is not just the notion of a wish. It is not just the notion of a visualization. It is also the notion of action, of behavior, of behaving like the person you wish to be in the reality you wish to experience, so that you can ground all these energies like a circuit into the experience of physical reality. For if you continue to the idea of contrary behavior to the visualization of the version of yourself in that reality, it will not anchor that vibration in your experience, and you will not shift to that particular parallel reality. It is all about forming a cohesive whole in thought, word, and deed, so that the totality of your being is present, and the totality of your being is expressing the actions, the attitudes, the behaviors that go hand in hand with the changes that you say you wish to make within yourselves, but which in a sense are not holistically expressed, if not on every level, every moment. So, as we thus then apply this new information today, please recall all that we have said, not just in this particular momentary event, but in all the tools and suggestions and permission slips that we have shared with you, applying them when and where necessary, every moment, opening up your imagination conduit to the higher mind and forming that relationship with the higher mind, so that in the balancing of the higher mind with the physical mind, you can truly function as a whole person on whatever version of earth you truly wish to experience. We have in this particular event shared with you the idea of the 11-11-11 gate, and have given you many suggestions for how to use the resonance of that particular energy, those parallel tracks, those parallel lines, that which is considered to be the symbol of reflection, and suggested some ideas for how to utilize permission slips involving mirrors and your own reflections in a variety of ways for you to utilize in whatever way your imagination sees fit. We have thus then also described and explained the structure of the 9 levels of consciousness, so that you can truly understand and incorporate the true relationship between all these levels, and also how it is that from the physical point of view and the conscious mind's point of view, thinking that it is on top, it has created also the shadow reality below it that allows it to think that the feelings and belief systems it seeks to tap into are somehow below, but are truly, now you understand, to be above. And thus then knowing that whenever you seek to connect to the idea of your belief systems to change and shift your reality in the way that you prefer, it is about expanding your energy upward to make the connection rather than going downward into the ideas you have labeled the sub and unconscious minds, which in reality are above vibrationally the conscious mind of thought, which together forms the idea of behavior with the emotions and the beliefs. Using the template level reality, freeing yourself to use it as a blueprint, to change those blueprints, to allow yourself more conscious recognition of your agreements, and to rearrange the idea of the themes that you chose to explore so that you become transparent to yourself in such a manner as to call forth again, acting holistically, the vibrations and the state of being that are representative of the reality you prefer, and in so aligning with those vibrations in attitudes of gratitude and expressions of calm and peace and creativity and love, and acting on your passion every moment that you can to the best of your ability with absolutely zero expectation for how it should all work out. You will thus then be squarely in the center with your magnetic compass needle pointing to your true self, moving forward along the path through the concept of space and time that you have created yourself to experience as part of the way of knowing creation, part of the way of experiencing process, part of the way of expanding your consciousness and imprinting your soul with the idea of a unique spirit that adds to the totality of the experience of how all that is experiences itself. Thus then, this day of your time, we will add now the notion, to cap this off, of what we have called the laws of attraction and repulsion, and the ways in which you use them and the ways in which you can use this very simple but very powerfully profound idea and notion to aid and assist you in accelerating your energy, so that you can match the frequencies coming in, radiating from the leading edge of the collective consciousness as you cross the threshold in 2012, and also so that you may have more clarity and a better capacity, shall we say, to transform very rapidly the idea of any beliefs that you wish to transform, and letting go of those which do not resonate in compatibility with you, and allowing those that do resonate in alignment with your true self to come to the forefront and be incorporated and integrated within the totality of your being. Thus then, let us begin to examine the idea of the laws of attraction and repulsion. Now,
We have in some ways covered these ideas from a variety of perspectives and have many times used other words in which to describe these things. And as we move forward in this description and explanation today of your time, we will also, as usual, to illustrate the point, provide a couple of different permission slip exercises that we will take you through. One to begin with in the first part of this transmission, and one in conjunction with your holotope experience later on as you know time to exist. The idea, however, is profoundly simple. Understanding, as we have already explained on several occasions, that the idea is that you are resonant frequency energy, that your consciousness vibrates at a certain pitch, that you yourself have a particular signature vibration that represents your unique beingness. And this particular resonant vibration, your core vibration, your true vibration, the vibration that represents you as a unique creation, a unique facet of the multidimensional crystal of creation, a unique expression of all that is in a sense a constant vibrational frequency. No matter what you may layer on top of it, in terms of your personality structure, in terms of how your beliefs may shift and your feelings may be expressed and your thoughts may play out and your behavior may unfold, always, always, always at your core, there is this signature vibration that goes all the way up the ladder that represents the unique expression, the unique extension of creation that you were created to be. And that is a constant, and it is always with you and is always representative of you. And that is why, as you do continue on your journey in this life, in the idea of the afterlife, in other lives, you will find that the more you integrate and the more you become more of yourself and the more you expand in spirit and soul and the more you take the place in the oversoul and above and beyond all that, into all that is, you will find that the perspective you will always retain will be as if all that integration is happening to you. And this will be the perspective you will maintain even in arriving at the level you call all that is. It will be as if you have become all that is. But this perspective, paradoxically, will be experienced by every single facet of all that is. Each aspect, each facet will experience itself in time becoming all that is. And thus then all that is contains all the pieces experiencing themselves ultimately as all that is. This is the holographic nature and the holographic structure of existence, in that every single piece of the whole contains the whole, can express the whole on some level in some way, so that each piece contains all the information of the whole. And in knowing that, you yourself know that you have all the information you need to be whatever unique experience you have chosen to be. And can know that it is always with you, can always be tapped into, can always be downloaded into you. And you don't really have to go seeking anywhere to find it. It's all here, it's all now, because there is only one moment in creation. Now, and now. Always now, never then, never when, never sometime to be. Always it is now, and everything you call a different moment is just the same now from a different point of view. So the idea thus then of the vibrations of attraction and repulsion have been talked about in your society now in recent times with great fervor and great acceleration, because it is now the recognition that this is a true vibratory principle that you can utilize in your life in a variety of ways. That having been said, many of the concepts, many of the ways in which this has been expressed, all well and good, all germane, all perfect for what they are, have in some ways now orbited around the central idea of how this mechanism actually functions. Many of you have a certain idea that when you talk about the law of attraction, you know that if you order your frequency to a certain level, in a sense, if you pattern yourself in a certain way, you will attract those things that are of similar vibration. And in a sense, that is so. And you know that if you allow yourself to be out of alignment with your true self, you will attract things, in a sense, that are of the vibration of misalignment. And in a sense, that is so. And you know that when you have a vibration that is not compatible with something else, you know that the law of repulsion will come into play, in that those things that exhibit more and more incompatibility, vibrationally speaking, will drift farther, 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 and farther apart from each other until such time as those things that are truly incompatible with one another will simply cease to experience one another, because they will no longer really be sharing any kind of an agreement of the same reality experience. This is the other thing that we have also mentioned about in the crossing of the threshold in 2012, and what we have referred to by analogy as the train station. The idea that you have many tracks and they all go through this station. But after they go through this station, they start to split apart to go to their own individual destinations. And at first, the tracks are still relatively close together after they leave the station. But the longer the train travels, the farther apart it will get from any other train, from any other track. And so it becomes, in a sense, less likely that you'll be capable of shifting from train to train, from track to track, the farther apart the trains and the tracks get. And this is why it is so important now, in this time, to be on the track you really wish to be on. There will be a short amount of time in which you will still be capable of perceiving the other trains, the other tracks, but it will also in time be more and more difficult and less probable that you'll be capable of shifting from one track to another. So it is a good idea to make sure that you've bought a ticket on the appropriate train now that it's leaving the station, while you still have the opportunity to experience what it is you say you prefer to experience. Thus, then, this is an analogy of the law of repulsion, in that all these incompatible vibrations will begin to segregate out and push away from everything that is not, in that sense, compatible with it. This, in this idea, shows you that repulsion is just as strong an idea, just as strong a force, if you will, as the idea of attraction. And in that sense, without repulsion, attraction will not find the places in which those things that you are attracting can reside. For you must make room for those things that are you by letting go of those things that are not. Now, herein lies the real profound understanding and the core of this idea of the law of attraction and repulsion. Many of you, because again of the way you've been taught to sort of express yourself, to think, to frame things, to label things, to define things in your physical reality, have this kind of a picture in your head that when you vibrate in a certain way, you are attracting something from somewhere else to here. And that when you, in a sense, release something else, you are releasing it, so to speak, from here to somewhere else. Well, of course, many of you now understand that everything exists right here and now. It's not really coming from anywhere else or going to anywhere else. It is, in a sense, simply being rearranged as a ratio of energy, as a balance of energy, as an equation of energy within the consciousness that you are. But you can still use the analogy of the vibration of attraction and repulsion as you have been doing, and at the same time, we would now like to introduce another way of looking at this, another way of imagining this, another way of picturing this, so that you can understand how to let go of any concept of effort or struggle with this idea of attempting to attract and attempting to let go, so that it will help accelerate whatever process you do deem is necessary for you when you plant into this equation this particular variable we are about to introduce. Because you see, this is all about the nature of existence. And you are part of the nature of existence. And in that context, as a part of the nature of existence, there really is no separation between you and existence itself. So the vibrations that we are talking about here of attraction and repulsion, you are really immersed in this energy. It is, in a sense, not separate from you. And because that is so, you can use these principles with the following understanding. I'll just put it to you this way. You are not doing all the work. And you don't have to do all the work. In the following way. The things, the ideas, the beliefs, the concepts, the experiences, the opportunities, whatever you wish to call them, that are vibrating in alignment with your true core self, are already doing their utmost to be attracted to you. The ideas, the synchronicities, the beliefs, the vibrations, the opportunities, the situations, the circumstances that are not aligned with that core, radiant, signature frequency that is your true self are doing their utmost to get away from you. The only reason the things that are attempting to get to you don't get to you is that you're keeping them away. The only reason the things that are attempting to get away from you don't get away from you is you are holding on to them and not letting them go. The energy of the law of attraction is not just you attracting things to you. It's the attraction itself being attracted to you, coming to you, desiring to be part of you because it recognizes the vibration that is your core signature frequency and can, by law, do nothing but be attracted to you. The things that are not you cannot do anything but, by law, attempt to remove themselves from the vibration they are not. This is the law. This is the variation of the third law. What you put out is what you get back. But this is the polarity understanding of that third law. That reality itself, existence itself, creation itself, nature itself is vibrating in these ways, and these vibrations can only align with similar vibrations and must move away from what they are not compatible with, unless and because you have been given the free will and the ability to choose to keep something at bay that is attempting to attract itself to you, or hold on to something tightly that is attempting to escape from you. And so everything we have shared with you about getting in touch with your beliefs, refining your understanding of who and what you are, and defining yourself more clearly has been all about the purpose and the focus of understanding how to let go of things that are already attempting to go away, and how to let things in that are already attempting to find you and connect with you. You are not doing the work in that sense of attracting and repulsing. The attraction principle and the repulsion principles are automatically built into nature. You are only doing the work of letting the things in that want to come in and letting go of the things that want to go. That's the work you're doing. You don't actually have to learn how to attract. You don't actually have to learn how to repel. You just have to learn to let in, and you have to learn to let go. That's all you need to do. Now, doesn't that sound a little more simple?
How are you all? Once again, we take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you, first of all, for allowing this transmission to occur in this manner and through this particular window on this day of your time. Each and every time you allow such a transmission to be conducted, a link is formed, a bridge is built, between our respective realities, and we get to experience, through our interactions with each and every one of you, more and more perspectives, more and more facets, more and more aspects of the infinite, and more points of view of creation. And this expands our understanding of all that creation can be. And so we thank you for this gift of sharing. We would like to begin this transmission with the following idea. We would like to remind each and every one of you, individually and collectively, all together, about an idea that we will call learning the difference between falling into the illusion of power, the difference between that and learning to use the power of the illusion. Many individuals on your planet for quite some time have fallen under the illusion of power, thinking that power exists in the outside world and must be, in a sense, harvested, must be attained, achieved, that things, circumstances, situations, even people, must be somehow manipulated, controlled, brought into the position that you desire them to be brought into in order to achieve a certain thing. Many individuals have fallen under this illusion of power, and of course the result has been a great deal of strife, separation, segregation, pain, suffering, and so forth. But now, many individuals are beginning to awaken from the illusion of power and are beginning to be able to actually use the power of the illusion. They are beginning to understand that physical reality doesn't really exist outside you, that you are physical reality, it exists within you, that the power of the illusion is in learning that it is, in a sense, an illusion, learning that that's what reality is, and in learning that it is manufactured, in a sense, within you, learning the means by which this is done, learning the means by which you can change it internally by changing yourself, and understanding that as you change yourself, so you change the entire world. For each and every change is a total change, not just a small change, but a total change. And when you know that physical reality is a mirror, a reflection of your strongest beliefs, your strongest thoughts, what you believe is possible, most likely to occur, then you can use the outer mirror illusion reflection as a guideline, a marker, a reminder of what kind of thoughts you are having, what kind of definitions you are believing, what kind of concepts you are buying into. And you can use it as a feedback system to show you whether or not you prefer to maintain those beliefs and those definitions. And if not, then to learn to change them and to see the outer reality, reflection, change along with the change within you. But as I've said before, and this is one of those, what you call in your language, catch-22s, is the idea that it must be an unconditional change, must be an unconditional internal change, which is another way of saying that if you make a condition of changing, in other words, you say, I will change if I get then the response I want to get, then you are making it conditional, and you are still putting the power outside yourself. You are still projecting outside yourself and saying that the power of change comes with the outside, comes with the change in the outside, rather than simply determining that the change has happened within you, and that you are who you want to be for its own sake, regardless of what goes on around you. In other words, that's the secret of true change, is that you will change and will behave differently than you did before, even if the outside reflection is still the same. When you can be that, when you can behave differently than you did before, even when the outside hasn't changed, then you have really changed. And when you then have really changed, the outside has no choice as a reflection, like in a mirror, but to change to mirror you. But if you do it to get the change, you short-circuit it, and it will not happen. because you make it conditional. That's the power of the paradox in this situation. And the power of the paradox between the difference of the illusion of power and using the power of the illusion. Now, when we say illusion, again, understand, in your semantics, in your language, that's what reality is. It doesn't mean that there is no reality, except that there is no reality except what you define it to be. But that's what reality is. We are not saying it doesn't exist, but we are saying simply that reality is only the definitions you bring to the forefront of your belief system structure. And that forms the reflection, the illusion, if you wish, that you see, that you perceive all around you. Now again, remember, this is not just a philosophy, this is physics. You are energy. Energy is information. You are patterns of information. You are a perspective. You are a point of view, of consciousness, of awareness, of existence itself. That's what each and every one of you are, a point of view. And as you design and define your point of view of who and what you believe yourself to be, or who and what you believe yourself capable of being, that's what you get reflected. It may not always be a one-to-one reflection. Literally, it may be quite symbolic, because the reality mirror, the illusion, is, in that sense, capable of reflecting back to you in many symbolic ways, the representative of many states and levels of your consciousness, your emotional self, your spiritual self, your mental self, your bodily self. There are many different ways that your mirror has of reflecting back to you those symbols that are representative of the beliefs you hold most true. And so it is up to you to be imaginative, to be able to learn to interpret your own reality around you. The things that you see, the people that you meet, all have significance. There are no accidents in that sense. It is a type of orchestration, a choreography, and it is up to you to let it in your heart, your mind, your spirit, your body, to let it in, to be open to what your reality has to say to you, to what your reflection is showing you about yourself, so that you can learn to truly master the power of the illusion instead of being the slave to the illusion of power that many of you in your society have succumbed to for thousands of your years. This is what this transformation is all about, that's going on in consciousness on your world, the awakening, the opening up of yourself to more of yourself, the realization of who and what you really are, what you were really created to be, and thus the total surrender, that is to say, total acceptance of yourself, so that reality can show you who you actually are, rather than playing the illusion game of who you think you're supposed to be, which only has you running around in circles and tiring you out. And you have been so very tired for so very long as a society. Time to energize and wake up, and the way you will do that is to surrender to who you are, accept who you really are in your heart of hearts as a dreamer, as an imaginative creator, and accept reality as a reflection of you. You're not a victim in any way, shape, or form, on any level whatsoever, unless you decide that's the game you want to play. And if you do, it will be allowed, because you are always supported in everything you decide is true. Because, again, infinite creation is nothing but unconditional allowance and love, and will allow you, through its unconditional support and love, to have any game scenario you want, even a game scenario wherein you can pretend you are not loved. It loves you that much. And so use that love to your advantage, and allow yourself to wake up into that love, to love yourself, and to understand that anything at all is possible for you within the context of the reality that you have chosen, and that you are now expanding even the definition of that reality now that you understand, or at least are beginning to understand, the power behind the illusion. So, as it expands, you will expand, possibilities will expand, reality will change, and you have begun to see many of the symptoms of that as space and time become very much more slippery. And things are not quite so rigid. And all the different belief systems that have existed on your planet for thousands of years are now all coming out at once onto the table, battling it out, in a sense. Positive, negative, pro and con, everything coming to the surface, all the deep, dark secrets, all the fears, all the doubts, along with all the possibilities of infinite joy, all coming out on the table all at once, so you can choose, because that is the ultimate tool of freedom and power. The ability to know you can choose. And that's all there is to it. And it begins from the realization that that's all you've ever done, is choose. What you get is what you chose, consciously or unconsciously. To believe was the most likely kind of thing you were capable of getting. Now that you can begin to see yourself as a true aspect of the infinite, you will know that infinity is open to you. And it is up to you to determine just exactly how much of that infinity and how much ecstasy you can handle at any given moment. You determine the rate. You are the valve, completely and utterly, that determines the rate of flow of that ecstasy, because it's only your energy that you're going to be feeling. And it's up to you to determine exactly how you want to feel your own vibration, in what context and in what form. Whether you want to feel your own energy as joy, or whether you want to feel your own energy as fear, it's up to you. But both can be instructional and both can be educational, if you use them that way. We will once again thank you for allowing us to experience each and every one of you in this link, in this transmission. And we now ask, in what way may we now be of service to you? You! Good day.
Good day, Bashar.
Speak up so that all may hear what you have to share.
Good day, Bashar.
Thank you. Good day.
Wanted to find out when you actually come to visit us. You have told me before that we will know.
Yes.
But for me as an individual, will I be able to have direct contact with you?
That I cannot say. You will most likely have some direct contact with some member of my species, but I cannot say whether that will actually culminate in a one-to-one contact with my own actual personage.
Because I would very much look...
I understand, and you do not have to patronize or patronage me. The idea simply is that none of these things on that specific level are yet completely decided because of the ebb and flux and flow of how every one of you are creating your reality as you go. Therefore, understand, we are meeting this way now, and this is as real in a sense as it gets. But the idea of what you call face-to-face bodily interaction is possible as a probability for any given member of my species, but it will have to remain as a quantum probability until such time as it actually comes to happen. And then you simply find out who it is you happen to be face-to-face with.
Well, based on the way the energy reads now, can you give me a probability of meeting you again? Meeting you in person?
About 17%.
Any idea why that low?
Why is that low? It's 17% higher than 0.
True.
Which It will probably be if you ask another question like that. You get the point?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And if you could just kind of fill us in terms of what your plans are between now and then.
I have no plans ever.
In terms of what your activity is going to be.
I have
in your ship
no way of knowing what my activity is going to be.
Okay, or what it's likely to be.
I have no way of telling you that.
Okay, what about what you're doing, your current position now? Are you still above Cairo?
2,500 miles, yes.
Okay, still 2,500 miles.
I have not yet been 2,500 miles.
Is that the lowest you've been?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So things are, the energy down here is pretty good then.
All right, we'll say it's pretty good.
Well, is it?
But it's still 2,500 miles short
Okay.
of contact.
Okay. And Thursday night, I was out at Area 51, and I was wondering, we saw...
No comment, thank you.
The
You!
Good day.
And to you, good day.
I would like to ask, can you explain to us what the photon belt is?
Yes.
Are we experiencing it?
Yes.
And how can we access this for our own selves?
Thank you. Your third question, in a sense, is actually something that can be answered by the first two. Because of what the concept of the photon belt is, will show you how your third question is already answered. The photon belt, even though there will be and is an exteriorized representation of this concept, is something that is representative of the collective consciousness of your own people. In other words, to use an analogy, you are familiar with the idea that as your technology sought to break the sound barrier, and as you built machines that got closer and closer and closer to breaking the sound barrier, there would be a type of buildup, a shock wave that made it seem more and more difficult to go through that barrier, a type of resistance built up ahead of the aircraft until such time as the aircraft actually then finally broke through, and after it broke through that particular barrier, then it went much faster and the going, as you say, was much smoother. But until it broke through, there was a buildup and a resistance. Do you follow me so far by analogy?
Yes.
This photon belt is such an analogy, such an idea. The collective consciousness of your entire planet, its idea of crossing a threshold, its recognition of there being the ending of a cycle and the beginning of a new cycle, is causing a buildup of energy. This buildup of consciousness energy expresses itself in your physical reality as electromagnetic energy fields. This electromagnetic energy field that is being referred to as the photon belt is simply the physical representation of the threshold that you're all going through, that you're all crossing, in a sense. It is the resistance you all have to being your full selves. But as you get closer and closer and closer and closer to being your full selves, the resistance will actually seem to be greater and greater and greater and greater and greater until such time as you simply allow yourselves to be your full selves, and then, with a bang, in a sense, you will cross the threshold, and it will be smoother sailing on the other side. And therefore, as this then answers your third question by letting you understand that the more you simply allow yourself to be who you really are, and accept yourself and give yourself unconditional love, the smoother the sailing will be, and the quicker you will be able to cross through that threshold, and the smoother any particular manifestations in physical reality will be. Do you follow that?
Yes.
Does that answer your question?
I believe it does, but I had this thought from other people that kind of said there was some kind of stuff that we were going to pass through it. So we're going to pass...
I just told you, yes.
We're going to pass through our own consciousness and
That is what you are doing, and your own consciousness does create an electromagnetic effect, and so there will be some outside effects, but the way in which you choose to go through your own consciousness, the way in which you choose to become yourself, the smoother you do that, the smoother the effects will be outwardly. Do you follow that?
Yes, I do.
Does that help you?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bashar.
You.
Um,
Good day.
Good day. I've developed this speech problem.
Speech challenge.
Speech challenge.
Yes.
Pretty good, yeah. Over the last 3 months or so.
All right.
And so, in the...
Can you be more specific about what you are experiencing symptomologically?
Well, like, my thoughts, what I'm trying to say doesn't come out. What I am thinking doesn't,
Yes.
my voice will not say those words.
Maybe you don't need to say so much.
I've considered that.
Oh, all right. Now, I am not attempting to be facetious,
Yeah.
but the idea really can have some merit. It might be simply that you need to understand you're going through a transitional state, and that sometimes certain kinds of transitional states your people will go through will actually mean you do need a type of meditative withdrawal.
Yeah.
You do need to go more into the center of yourself and not really communicate outwardly as much as you think you need to. In other words, say more with less.
I understand.
This really is the reflective analogy, because this is the very crux, the very heart of learning the power of your being, to be able to do more with less. You see, this is the secret of all abundance and all creativity and all manifestation. When you learn to do more with less, you will then need to do less to get more. That's what you need to do. And so this is your way, through this communicative style, is your way right now. It may change, but it's your way right now of slowing yourself down in a sense, seemingly slowing yourself down, so that you can actually paradoxically speed up. But you have to pull yourself in a little bit, let it be all right to be in this space, and change the rate at which and the style in which you communicate, so that you can learn to communicate more efficiently, more effectively, really, truly, by saying more with less. Because remember, the greatest power requires the gentlest touch to get something done. The more you have to do, the less powerful you actually think you are. The greatest power requires the lightest touch and gets everything done. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
a lot of
relax
sense.
into yourself, find the new pace within you, and synchronize. Let yourself synchronize. You will. Now, simultaneously, and this goes for all of you, remember, you must begin treating yourselves very well. You must begin treating yourselves very well. You must allow yourselves to be healthy, behave in a healthy manner, make sure you have enough purified water, air, movement, no stress, no toxins. You follow? All these things are important now, more important than ever, because you are refining your vibrations, refining your energy, and you don't want to necessarily spend energy fighting against yourself.
Good day, Bashar.
Speak up so that all may hear what you have to share.
Good day, Bashar.
Thank you. Good day.
Wanted to find out when you actually come to visit us. You have told me before that we will know,
Yes.
but for me as an individual, will I be able to have direct contact with you?
That I cannot say. You will most likely have some direct contact with some member of my species, but I cannot say whether that will actually culminate in a one-to-one contact with my own actual personage.
Because I would very much look...
I understand, and you do not have to patronize or patronage me. The idea simply is that none of these things on that specific level are yet completely decided because of the ebb and flux and flow of how every one of you are creating your reality as you go. Therefore, understand, we are meeting this way now, and this is as real in a sense as it gets. But the idea of what you call face-to-face bodily interaction is possible as a probability for any given member of my species, but it will have to remain as a quantum probability until such time as it actually comes to happen. And then you simply find out who it is you happen to be face-to-face with.
Well, based on the way the energy reads now, can you give me a probability of meeting you again? Meeting you in person?
About 17%.
Any idea why that low?
Why is that low? It's 17% higher than zero.
True.
Which it will probably be if you ask another question like that. You get the point?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And if you could just kind of fill us in terms of what your plans are between now and then.
I have no plans ever.
In terms of what your activity is going to be.
I have
in your
no
ship
way of
and-
knowing what my activity is going to be.
Okay, or what it's likely to be.
I have no way of telling you that.
Okay, what about what you're doing, your current position now? Are you still above Cairo? And,
2,500 miles, yes.
Okay, still 2,500 miles.
I have not yet been 2,500 miles.
Is that the lowest you've been?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So things are, the energy down here is pretty good then.
All right, we'll say it's pretty good.
Well, is it,
But it's still 2,500 miles short
okay.
of contact.
Okay. And Thursday night, I was out at Area 51, and I was wondering, we saw...
No comment, thank you.
The
You!
Good day.
And to you, good day.
I would like to ask, can you explain to us what the photon belt is?
Yes.
Are we experiencing it?
Yes.
And how can we access this for our own selves?
Thank you. Your third question, in a sense, is actually something that can be answered by the first two. Because of what the concept of the photon belt is, will show you how your third question is already answered. The photon belt, even though there will be and is an exteriorized representation of this concept, is something that is representative of the collective consciousness of your own people. In other words, to use an analogy, you are familiar with the idea that as your technology sought to break the sound barrier, and as you built machines that got closer and closer and closer to breaking the sound barrier, there would be a type of buildup, a shock wave that made it seem more and more difficult to go through that barrier, a type of resistance built up ahead of the aircraft until such time as the aircraft actually then finally broke through, and after it broke through that particular barrier, then it went much faster and the going, as you say, was much smoother. But until it broke through, there was a buildup and a resistance. Do you follow me so far by analogy?
Yes.
This photon belt is such an analogy, such an idea. The collective consciousness of your entire planet, its idea of crossing a threshold, its recognition of there being the ending of a cycle and the beginning of a new cycle, is causing a buildup of energy. This buildup of consciousness energy expresses itself in your physical reality as electromagnetic energy fields. This electromagnetic energy field that is being referred to as the photon belt is simply the physical representation of the threshold that you're all going through, that you're all crossing, in a sense. It is the resistance you all have to being your full selves. But as you get closer and closer and closer and closer to being your full selves, the resistance will actually seem to be greater and greater and greater and greater and greater until such time as you simply allow yourselves to be your full selves, and then, with a bang, in a sense, you will cross the threshold, and it will be smoother sailing on the other side. And therefore, as this then answers your third question by letting you understand that the more you simply allow yourself to be who you really are, and accept yourself and give yourself unconditional love, the smoother the sailing will be, and the quicker you will be able to cross through that threshold, and the smoother any particular manifestations in physical reality will be. Do you follow that?
Yes.
Does that answer your question?
I believe it does, but I had this thought from other people that kind of said there was some kind of stuff that we were going to pass through it. So we're going to pass...
I just told you yes.
We're going to pass through our own consciousness and
That
our own
is what you
thoughts.
are doing, and your own consciousness does create an electromagnetic effect, and so there will be some outside effects, but the way in which you choose to go through your own consciousness, the way in which you choose to become yourself, the smoother you do that, the smoother the effects will be outwardly. Do you follow that?
Yes, I do.
Does that help you?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Thank you. You. Good day.
Good day. I developed this speech problem.
Speech challenge.
Speech challenge.
Yes.
Pretty good, yeah. Over the last 3 months or so.
All right.
And so in the...
Can you be more specific about what you are experiencing symptomologically?
Well, like my thoughts, what I'm trying to say doesn't come out. What I am thinking doesn't, my voice will not say those words.
Maybe you don't need to say so much.
I've considered that.
Oh, all right. Now, I am not attempting to be facetious,
Yeah.
but the idea really can have some merit. It might be simply that you need to understand you're going through a transitional state, and that sometimes certain kinds of transitional states your people will go through will actually mean you do need a type of meditative withdrawal.
Yeah.
You do need to go more into the center of yourself and not really communicate outwardly as much as you think you need to. In other words, say more with less.
I understand.
This really is the reflective analogy, because this is the very crux, the very heart of learning the power of your being, to be able to do more with less. You see, this is the secret of all abundance and all creativity and all manifestation. When you learn to do more with less, you will then need to do less to get more. That's what you need to do. And so this is your way, through this communicative style, is your way right now. It may change, but it's your way right now of slowing yourself down in a sense, seemingly slowing yourself down so that you can actually paradoxically speed up. But you have to pull yourself in a little bit, let it be all right to be in this space, and change the rate at which and the style in which you communicate so that you can learn to communicate more efficiently, more effectively, really, truly, by saying more with less. Because remember, the greatest power requires the gentlest touch to get something done. The more you have to do, the less powerful you actually think you are. The greatest power requires the lightest touch and gets everything done. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So relax into yourself, find the new pace within you, and synchronize. Let yourself synchronize. You will. Now, simultaneously, and this goes for all of you, remember, you must begin treating yourselves very well. You must begin treating yourselves very well. You must allow yourselves to be healthy, behave in a healthy manner, make sure you have enough purified water, air, movement, no stress, no toxins. You follow? All these things are important now, more important than ever, because you are refining your vibrations, refining your energy, and you don't want to necessarily spend energy fighting against yourself. So, for many of you, and I don't mean to plant this in your mind, it can be very simple, but for many of you it's going to be tough enough without heaping upon yourself all those additional things. So, be kind to yourself. Be nice to yourself. Lighten up on yourself in a variety of ways. Let yourself fall into your appropriate pace and trust that whatever is going on right now, and this can apply to many situations, whatever is going on right now needs to be what is going on right now. Paradoxically, again, when you allow what is to be what needs to be, what is can become what it needs to become. Did you follow that?
Yeah.
When you allow what is to be okay, that it's there, and not fight it, then what is there can become something else. And that something else will be, if you let it, more reflective of your true, bigger, more powerful self. If you let it. Notice I said, you don't have to make it. Just if you let it. Because life is allowance. You follow?
Thank you.
Does this help you?
Yes.
Have I used too many words to explain this to you?
No.
Thank you. Male, then female. Number one, do you know who you are? Yes. All right. Number two, do you know who you are? Yes. All right.
Good day, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Bashar, a few weeks ago you talked about a template moving into place
Yes.
over the next 2.5 years.
Yes. Template grinding into place.
Right, 2001.
Yes.
And that there was, in a sense, a window of time for us to surrender to ourselves.
Yes.
Past that moment,
Things will be a little more difficult for you.
a little more difficult.
Only in the sense that if you want to align, you'll have to align more quickly, and not that many of you are used to doing it that quickly. I'm not saying it is inherently more difficult. It is more difficult based on your patterns. In the sense that when there's not much time left to align, and you have to do it quickly, not many of you know how to do that with grace. You may have to find yourself flailing, kicking, and screaming. You will do it. If you have intended to do it, you will do it. We're just letting you know that if you stop kicking and screaming now, if you let go now, things will be much smoother and much easier than they will be for you later, based on how quickly you yourself will want to accelerate later, and how uneasy that may make you feel simply because you're not used to it. Did you follow that logic?
I did, but I'm trying to get a sense of
Yes.
what changes after the year 2001 that's going to make it more
You
difficult.
are reaching critical mass. And it isn't just your year of 2001. That's one threshold. There are many beyond that as well, between 2001 and approximately 2013. It's like a series of stepping up gears. So the idea is that when enough of your society begins to arrive at a certain level of understanding, a certain awakening, a certain frequency, then that frequency acts as a trigger mechanism and makes it more likely for more people to also step up their frequency. So you have had so much attention for so long on your year of 2001, and also that your consciousness is using it as the shifting point in general of a cycle, that it is creating a critical mass. You follow?
Yes, I do.
It's like what you call a snap the whip.
Okay.
And thus then you will find that that wave will come along very quickly. Those who are ready to ride it will grab on and ride it smoothly, because they will have nothing holding them back, nothing weighing them down. Those who have that resistance issue, those weighty issues that they are still dealing with, may find it a little bit more difficult to hold on to the whip when the wave comes by. You follow me?
Yes, I do. The wave analogy helps a lot.
Oh, all right.
Because, in a sense, it's within me, looking at the 2.5 years, I'm thinking, well, I better really get my act together so I can catch that wave, in a sense, between
Yes.
now and then.
But don't do it in a worrisome or judgmental way.
That's my point, because
Yes.
when you use the wave analogy, well, okay, now I'm on the beach, I'm
Yes.
on a board, and
All right.
I have
Very good.
I have an opportunity
Yes.
to catch the wave.
All right, well, very good. And you have made a good point. And the point you have made that is good and good for everyone in this particular gathering is that it is up to each and every one of you to decide how to interpret this concept. And your interpretation for you is correct. There isn't one way. You have all the basic same understanding of what kind of transition and change is going on energetically. It's up to you to decide exactly what the methodology shall be for how you will relate to it and how it will work best for you. Use whatever terminology and symbology works for you, and that will be correct. Why? Because you came up with it. Because you know what you're doing. Believe it or not, you know what you're doing. You have to trust that. You know what you're doing. And if you mull it around in your imagination, and you could have done it without this conversation, I'm not chastising you, I'm just letting you know, you could have had this conversation in your own head and said, well, you know, you talked about this template grinding and this and that. Well, you know, if I thought about it like a wave, it would make more sense to me and I would understand it.
Right.
You could have had that conversation completely internally, and in fact, you actually have. Because I'm only a catalyst and a trigger. I'm not giving it to you.
Right.
You are just allowing yourself to give it to yourself in this particular format.
I understand. One of the things that I had learned from you over the years was that your own speed, your own time, we're infinite beings. What's the rush?
Yes.
And then when you threw in that template thing, that it seemed like a mixed message. I had to hurry for some reason.
Oh, I see.
And so that's what I was
Well,
trying
that
to
just shows you may have a few semantic bumps to smooth out within you.
All right.
That's all.
Okay.
Because it's all a matter of definition. And it's an opportunity for you to learn to trust yourself instead of all of a sudden hearing a word that you don't right understand and suddenly doubting that you have an understanding of the whole concept just because of that one word. Do you follow?
Yes.
The idea is to say, no, wait a minute, I did understand it, and just because this word doesn't seem to fit doesn't mean I don't understand it now. Find a way to make yourself know you understand it.
Well, that's pretty much what I had to do. It was like,
Yes.
well, wait a minute, I don't get it the way he's saying it. I'm going to follow my own
Thank you.
way.
Thank you. That is what we have always implored all of you to do. Follow your own way. That's what counts.
Okay.
Does that help you?
Yes, it does.
Why, thank you.
Thank you, Bashar.
Number 2.
Hello, Bashar.
And you good day.
It's been a while.
Oh, all right, if you insist. Speak up and be bold so that all may hear what you have to share.
First, I wanted to say thank you.
All right, thank you. And you're welcome.
I was sort of out in the blue, you might say, and got a hold of your tapes, which sort of explained what was happening to me.
All right. Thank you for your synchronicity and explaining it to yourself. By using us as a reflection.
Okay. A friend of mine is in contact with some ETs.
Yes.
And they state that they will soon be in contact with myself and my mate.
All right.
Could you by any chance
I
give
trust
me...
you're not asking me to verify that.
No. Just give me some idea of where they're from.
Nope.
Okay. Next question.
Yes.
If you're living in a toxic area and
Yes.
need to do that for a little bit longer, how can you keep it from overpowering you, so to speak?
You can allow yourself to detoxify in the most natural and organic way possible. Many applications can be made of what you call natural herbs and such that act as very powerful detoxifiers, and when they are formulated correctly will allow you to go through these detoxifications in a smooth, transitional way. Avail yourself of these ideas and make sure they are as pure as possible.
Okay, and one more question.
Yes.
I seem to be having a little bit of problem with my brain, they tell me.
I see.
And
That is a conundrum.
Yeah. And want me either to have an operation or to have parts burnt with radiation.
I see.
Which I choose not to do.
I see. Again,
Yeah.
you may find that some of the ideas, depending upon the time frame and depending upon what you're doing with your own belief systems and what your belief systems most strongly believe they need to do, path of least resistance, allow yourself again to remember that again, if you have within you set up the structure of an appropriate time frame, you can still alleviate even this with the idea of detoxification in the utilization of pure herbal formulations.
Okay. Thank you.
What you need to do is make sure that your body is capable of repairing itself. And what this usually implies is that you have to oxygenate it, make sure enough blood is getting to every part of your body, make sure you have enough water so that the cells can flush the toxins out, and so forth.
Okay.
You follow?
Well, actually, I have an oxygen tank in my living room, which I exercise
Yes, but this may
with.
not be sufficient.
Okay.
The idea is that you have to detoxify the body, and there are herbal concoctions that can do this. If you will do your research, there are also some suggestions and recommendations that can be made by the channel, if you wish, after this transmission, if you wish to talk to him about it.
Okay.
All right?
Yep.
Does that help you?
Yes, it does.
Thank you. 1, 2, 3. Number 2, do you know who you are? Yes. Number 3. Male. Yes. Not you. You are number 1. Number 3. Yes. All right, thank you. Number 1, good day.
Good day, Bashar. I want to thank you for being here.
I am not there, but thank you for the sentiment.
Well, we are together somehow.
Yes.
Through the years, and thank you for these connections with lessons which I learned from you, I improved a lot.
You have learned these from yourself, but thank you.
Thank you. And I have a particular question.
Yes.
Through meditation, I have a year ago received an information for certain place in Arizona, certain name of town, surroundings, and so on and so forth.
Yes, for what purpose, toward what end?
It was for founding something like archaeological thing, which consists of 7 plates, which are made from gold or bronze or some yellow material, and something written over them.
Yes.
I've been so far 4 times there, and I actually discovered the place which came in my meditation.
All right.
And the information which I had is somehow these plates are connected with Asian Martian visit here, connection.
Not all of them.
Connection with Indians and forming a new civilization like Aztec civilization or something like that.
Yes, in a sense.
Now, I would like to ask you, I have 2 questions. One of them is if you can track in your collective memory what actually happened, where these plates came from. And my second question is how to proceed with the legal system existing here. What should I do with them? Yeah, if for instance, if I dig them out...
Yes. You're not going to dig them out right away.
No, yeah, I can go in jail because I have to go through certain procedures and I don't know how to do it.
All right, well, why don't you research and find out? What stops you from finding out how to do it?
Well, the way I consider to do it is to go with the local Indians and because it's regarding their history, and to do something with the tribe.
Yes, well, why don't you ask them?
Well, that's my next visit, which will be about 15 days from now.
Oh, well, then what are you talking to me for?
Well, I'm asking you if you can track exactly what happened, how these plates arrived there.
I am not allowed to. You are in mid-process. I cannot interrupt this flow. It is not something that I need to have access of information for. And that tells me that you need to continue as you're continuing, not worry about the legalities, but do what needs to be done. Stay within your integrity and simply follow through. Communication is the key. Frequency, state of being is the key, because one thing I can tell you about the 7 plates is this. Your vibration is going to have to match each and every one of them before you can find them, one at a time. And as you match their frequency, the plates will, in a sense, step you up a notch each time. And you will know more as you go. But at first, involve those who are involved. Dialogue with them, engage them, communicate, be open, have them help you, let them guide you in that sense. Timing will show you the way. All right?
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, I'll take a day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right. All right, we'll take that as an okay. We thank you all with deep appreciation for the co-creation this day of your time of this interaction and the allowance of this transmission. Our unconditional love to you all, and let us begin. We have titled this transmission, Sedona, the Interdimensional City. The idea being that because of the nature of the vortex of energy that exists in this area, it is connected to many different realms, many different realities, many different dimensions. And so we would like to discuss the ways in which you may use this portal, this energy, to connect to more of yourself, bring more of yourself through, that being your greater self, not just your physical minds, but connecting more readily with your higher mind, with your greater being, with parallel realities, with Source, and your guides, and all who are willing to be of assistance to you. The first thing we would like to explain is the idea of that connection, because we know many of you ask for assistance, ask for help, pray for guidance, but I remind you, prayer is not about asking for something you don't have.
Prayer is a state of grace, a state of being, in which you express appreciation and gratitude for what already exists. Because you have all the help you can possibly be given already. It's about allowing yourself to be more aware of the help you are already receiving, rather than asking for something you are not being given. Keep it in present tense, for that's where everything exists, in the right here and the right now. We have before talked about the idea, just to use a similar Earth analogy, of the AAA formula. When you need assistance, you call AAA. But this AAA is the idea of acknowledging what you have, being in appreciation for what you have, and allowing what needs to happen next to happen. So acknowledging, appreciating, and allowing are the states of being that represent your ability to allow you to know you are receiving what you need and to be more open to perceiving it. It is the allowance that allows you to perceive what it is you are already being given, because you are always being given it. It is never withheld, not for one moment. As we have said, based on the idea you call the law of attraction, it isn't wrong that you have to be of the vibration to attract what you need, but many people have a little bit of a misunderstanding as to what that really means. And so, as we have explained, your core frequency, your true essential vibration, is already attracting everything you need as powerfully as it can be. So it's not about having to learn that particular frequency. You're already radiating that frequency every moment of your existence. It is pouring out of you. The idea is to stop getting in the way of allowing it to attract what you need. So it's not about having to learn something you're not already doing. It's about letting go of those fear-based or negative belief systems or erroneous assumptions and definitions that are impeding your core vibration from bringing you what you need in life. And notice that we have said what you need, not what you want. Sometimes your wants and needs can coincide, but very often the want may be the result of a misunderstanding in the ego structure to make you think you need something that really isn't necessarily as relevant as you might think or as you might wish. But if you have what you need, your lives will be fulfilled. You will live a life of joy, because the needs are what will support you in every endeavor that is representative of your truth, of your passion, of your true path in life. If you have what you need, you have everything. Again, sometimes if you are in touch and in tune with your true self, then your wants and needs may coincide. And at the very least, if you're going to want what you need, because that will give you everything. The idea now of being in this vortex, it is a magnifier and an amplifier of what you bring with you into it. Positive, neutral, and negative. It is very important in this reflective mirror, this magnifying mirror, to really deep down examine what you hold to be true, why you hold it to be true, and really with honesty deeply investigate yourself, your beliefs, your definitions, and ponder why you believe it is important to hold on to something. So allow yourself the opportunity to really get to know yourself. That ancient wisdom, know thyself, is the key And in knowing yourself as clearly as you possibly can, you can more easily discern what it is that is truly important for you to hold on to as a belief, to understand why you're holding on to it, to understand why you may be holding on to things that don't necessarily serve you. Because once again, allow us to explain briefly what we call the motivational mechanism in all of you. Every single one of you operate this way. There are no exceptions. Not even you. The idea is it works this way. You will all immediately, instantly move in the direction of what you believe serves you. You will all immediately, automatically, and instantly move away from what you believe does not serve you. So if you can observe that you may be choosing things that do not serve you, if you understand the motivational mechanism, then you will understand that the only way that could happen, the only way that can happen, is if you have a belief that says that what it is that doesn't serve you is somehow better than the alternative. That you may have a fear that if you move in the direction of your truth, your passion, that something worse will happen than what you're already experiencing. And if you have that belief attached to your motivational mechanism, you will do everything in your power to avoid moving in the direction of your joy. Because your belief says that something worse will happen and that is something you should move away from as far as you possibly can. So you have to dig down deep in your self-investigation to understand why you would believe such a thing, why you would believe that your passion would contain anything that is so contradictory to the idea of experiencing your true self in a joyful way. Because that's a contradictory definition to the idea of your passion, of who you truly are. Because what is your passion? As we have explained, your passion is the result of a communication from your higher mind saying, this is who you are. This is the next step on your path. Your non-physical higher mind, that portion of your whole being that is in spirit, is sending you energy messages all the time. But they come in the form of energy because it is coming from a non-physical reality. Your physical body translates that energy message as the sensation you call passion, excitement, curiosity, attraction, and love. So when you translate the messages from your higher mind into the sensation and the experience of passion, then you know that that's what your higher mind is telling you. This opportunity, this situation contains this excitement, this passion, because this is who you are. This is the next step on your path. This is your truth. If you are willing to act on it, then you are responding to the higher mind saying, yes, I heard you, and I'm willing to allow you to guide me. And if you thus act on it, you have responded to the higher mind with the language of physical reality, which is not words and not thoughts, but actions. Physical actions are the language of physical reality. It is representative of the commitment to take action on what the higher mind has told you is your next step in life. And once you do that, you set up the dialogue with your higher mind so that it can send you more opportunities to act on your passion. For why should it send you more opportunities if you haven't even acted on what it's already sent you? The idea is then you cause the ball to start rolling, and then it can gain momentum, and then the higher mind can bring you more opportunities and bigger opportunities to act on your passion. And it doesn't matter if it starts small. If you do not immediately know what your passion is, allow yourself to start simply in daily ways. At any given moment, you have a number of options available to you. Very simple daily things. You can take a walk, you can read a book, you can talk to a friend, you can eat a meal. Just pick what has even the tiniest bit more excitement than any other choice and act on that first to the best you can. No insistence, no assumption as to the outcome. See where it leads. Stay in a positive state. Examine any belief systems that are fear-based and negative that come up. surrounding it, and just keep doing that. If you find you cannot tell the difference between two things, flip a coin. Because then it won't matter. Sometimes the coin flip may reveal to you what your true attraction is. Oh, heads I'll do A, and B I'll do tails this way. And if you flip it and it goes tails, you go, oh darn, I wish it was heads. Now you know, move in that direction. But if they're truly equal in excitement, truly equal in your ability to take action on them, then it doesn't matter which one you choose first, because one of the things that is connected to the idea of your passion is the organizing principle of synchronicity. And if that is not the correct path for you at that moment, synchronicity will create situations, circumstances, and opportunities that will turn you right around to the path that is. It's automatic. That's how it functions. It guides you. And I remind you that even though there is such a thing as negative synchronicity, so to speak, where you can compound the idea of fear-based beliefs and have a downward spiral in that direction, there are also two types of positive synchronicity. What we will call green light synchronicity and red light synchronicity, just like your traffic situation. The green light synchronicity says, here's an opportunity, and it says, go, act on it. You can act on it, and you can move forward. Red light synchronicity says this may be representative of your passion, but don't take that action right now. No matter how hard you try, there's nothing you can seem to do about acting on that thing. If it's not you that is preventing yourself from doing that, then it is simply red light synchronicity saying, not yet. You may need to go over here to gather information and experience that will bring you back around to the proper timing when you can act on this, but not right now. So if you've done everything you can to act on something and it just doesn't seem to be moving forward, then trust that as long as you are honest with yourself and you're not the one dampening that excitement, that red light synchronicity is telling you that this is not exactly the step you need to take at this moment. Go with what you can act on. Go with what green light synchronicity says. You can act on this, and it will actually lead you where you need to be, so that when you wind up there, these other things that are all interconnected, all representative of your passion and your excitement, can then possibly come to fruition. But I caution you this. Never assume that the form that your excitement comes in is the form that must come to fruition, because you don't know why it came to you in that form. It might play out, but sometimes, because of the nature of the belief systems that exist within your physical mind, sometimes synchronicity and excitement have to present themselves to you in a certain way, just because that's the way that will get you to actually take an action. Get you excited enough to move so that you can wind up where you need to be, so that what really needs to happen can actually happen more easily. And that's why you don't have any insistence or assumption about why your excitement comes in the form that it does. So you don't have to assume that it's rigidly fixed, so that surprises can come and lead you exactly where you need to be led. Does that all make sense to you so far? Yes. All right. We tell you these things in advance of the conversation that we are now going to have about the idea of the vortex being an interdimensional access point for you. Because when you clarify yourself and when you understand how the formula that we've shared with all of you really works, and you use it very precisely, then the idea of the amplification and magnification of this energy vortex can really work to your advantage and really allow you to experience a great deal of acceleration in the direction of your true path. Now, let's talk a little bit about the idea of how you use already parallel realities to create the experiences in your life. You already have what you consider to be a timeline to your life. You linearly usually think of it going from A to Z. I'm going from the past to the future, through the present. But the present is all there is. The past and the future, in a sense, are just probable illusions. Probabilities that haven't yet really solidified until you solidify yourself in the present, until you define yourself clearly in the present, in whatever way, shape, or form you might do that, positively or negatively, or even neutrally. I remind you of this so that you understand that while you may think linearly that the future is not fixed, neither is the past. Listen carefully. What you define yourself to be in the here and now, which is all there is, in the present, right now, not only changes the probabilities of the future, but changes your past as well. Why? It works this way. Because you're experiencing the idea of physical reality, because you're experiencing the idea of cause and effect, you're separating them out. Oh, this causes this effect to happen. This must happen first so that this can happen. Because that's the way you experience the concept of space and time, because you have created physical reality to be viewed and experienced that way, anytime you make a change in your definition of who you are in the present, anytime you become literally a different person, a new person, your linear reality has to shift in a way that says, well, if you're a new person now, we have to alter the past to become the kind of past that would have led to who you are in the present. We have to change the cause so that the effect makes sense. So you're actually changing your past all the time, literally. Not metaphorically, literally. Now, you may not know that all the time, because again, as soon as you make that adjustment in the present, the past is going to bring with it the idea that that's always been your past, because that's what's going to make sense to you linearly. Even though 2 minutes ago you may have had a completely different past, you may not know that, because in order to function in physical reality in the present, you have to remember the past that makes sense for who you are now. And this is dynamically changing all the time. Now, because you are expanding your consciousness, because you are allowing yourself to be a little bit more aware of more of yourself, some of you are beginning to experience what you have labeled the Mandela effect, which is the idea that you are actually aware of the fact that the past has changed, and that one person can remember one past and another person can remember a completely different past for the exact same event. Now, that's not always the case. Sometimes it is just a slip of your memory. But sometimes it is the idea of recognizing that you have shifted the past in order to truly define who you are in the present, and that two people can have a memory of absolutely different histories, and both of them are real, because all parallel realities exist at the same time. Everything exists here and now. When your scientists begin to understand consciousness a little bit more thoroughly, they will understand that in their search for a so-called unified theory of physics, they have to include the idea of not only reducing all of the physical phenomenon in reality to a single idea that explains all of the effects, they have to reduce space and time as well. So, reducing the idea of space to its ultimate will be the idea of a single dimensionless point. Reducing the idea of time to its ultimate will be a single timeless moment. You can call the single dimensionless point here and the single timeless moment now. So everything becomes existing here and now, in lay terms. But once you do that, once you truly start to wrap your minds around the understanding that anything you can imagine in every parallel reality all exists simultaneously, all going on right now, you start to realize that what that really means is that there is only that single point of here, only that timeless moment of now, and therefore anything that you perceive as a different place, anything that you perceive as a different moment, is actually the same place and the same moment from a different point of view. Because there is only one place, here, and only one moment, now. So everything you experience that appears to be stretched out into volumes of space and moments of time are all the same place and the same time from another vantage point, another perspective of that same here and now. That's how you create the idea and the experience of physical reality. Because I remind you of this very powerful recognition. Everyone, everything, you, us, all beings of any nature, your natural state is spirit. That's where you are right now. Right now. You have never left spirit. That's where you reside. That's your natural state. You are pretending to have left. You are dreaming that you have left. And that is called physical reality. Physical reality is a dream that your greater spirit, a part of your greater spirit, is having right now while you are in spirit. You're there right now. This is why very often when people pass on into spirit, you wonder, why don't they come back and say hello? Sometimes they may. But understand, you're there with them. They're not missing you. So the idea is they may show up now and then to remind you that it is only a portion of your spirit in the spirit realm that thinks it's not in the spirit realm anymore. Because that's all physical reality is. It's a projection of your consciousness. It's an illusion for a specific purpose of experiencing yourself in a certain way so that you can forget that you're a spirit, forget what you know, so that you can learn new things and discover new perspectives of yourself so you can change and grow in a very specific way. That is how creation expands. The structure of existence never changes. It is what it is. But your experience of it, your relationship to it, your perspective of it constantly changes. That is how creation grows. So the idea is you are experiencing physical reality and you are learning new perspectives, new discoveries of yourself from new points of view, allowing creation to expand in that way, in its relationship to itself, through all of you, through all of us, through all that is. And that experience is precious because it allows you to experience the process of change, the idea of growth, the idea of discovery, the idea of newness. And that is a precious gift. So, now, how are you actually doing that in physical reality? Well, as I said, you all assume you have a single timeline that goes from your past to your future. In fact, what you're doing is this. You are scanning all of the frames of reference of all the parallel realities that are relevant for the theme that you chose to explore in this life. And you are drawing down and plugging in and unplugging from and connecting to and disconnecting from all the frames and parallel realities that are relevant for this theme. You are constructing, literally, moment to moment, billions of times per second, constructing what appears to be a single timeline made up of frames, one after the other in a certain order, from thousands of parallel reality connections. You are doing this all the time automatically. When you have an inspiration, oh, I just thought of this. It may be coming from a parallel reality person that you're plugging into that is having that experience. And therefore you can get the inspiration because their experience in that particular reality is relevant for the theme you chose to explore in this reality, in this timeline. You're constantly merging with timelines to build the timeline that is relevant to your theme, as they are doing with you, drawing upon your experiences, your information to construct their timelines. All of this going on at the same time. That's how powerful you are. You are a multidimensional being. This idea of your physical self is but a fraction of a fragment of what you actually are, of what your greater self actually is. Your soul is multidimensional. The idea that you have created this experience you call physical reality is magical. Some civilizations that are non-physical, some collectives, interdimensional, non-physical beings, sometimes actually have a challenge even imagining how such a thing is possible that you do on a daily basis. They can't imagine limiting themselves in that way. This is why we often refer to you as the masters of limitation. Now, but here's the thing. In your process, you are going from being the masters of limitation to being the masters of limitation, so that you can master how you use the limitations you impose upon your consciousness in ways that will allow you to experience your growth in a fantastically magical way, so that you really start remembering that you're creating this physical reality experience by your collective and individual agreements, by the contracts you have with each other, to serve each other, to reflect to each other what it is you each need to know to become more aware of who you are through this process, to discover a new perspective of yourself and add that experience to your soul, to your greater being, to all that is, to source itself. Because you are all and we are all and everything is reflections and aspects of all that is, experiencing itself in all the ways that it can, in all the ways that it is. Nothing is by accident, it's all an orchestration. Synchronicity permeates everything you experience, whether you know it or not. This is all an orchestration. When you are walking down a street, all the people that you see walking down the street around you are not there by accident. It may be differing in degree of relevance as to what their presence means to you or what your presence means to them, but it's not an accident. You are there because you're serving to support the greater whole picture, to allow someone else or yourself to glean something from the experience of being there at that exact place, at that exact moment in time. The orchestration is amazing, precise, unerring. When you are stuck in one of your so-called traffic jams, it's not by accident that you're there. So take the time to look around. The people that are next to you in their automobiles are not there by accident. Again, it may not necessarily be that relevant for you at that moment, or maybe you are learning some lessons. Here's one example. Again, by being in that traffic jam and not moving forward very quickly, how do you know that 5 miles down the road, if you had been going at full speed, you wouldn't have gotten into an accident that killed you? You don't know. But what you do know is that there's a reason this is happening. And again, it may not necessarily have that much to do with you, but it has to do with you in your willingness to support someone in that grouping who does need to learn something from that experience. That's the willingness to serve that you all have on a higher level. Bring that willingness to serve down to earth and you will be served as well. As you serve, you are served. It's just like what we have said by analogy. Each and every one of you is like a little puzzle piece. And when you all fit together, you create the big puzzle picture that supports all of the pieces within it as the pieces support the whole. If you are willing to be the puzzle piece the way you were intended to be shaped, the natural shape you are, and not trying to be a different shape that you are not, you will fit with all the other shapes willing to be themselves, and you will create a harmonious whole. Remember, unity and harmony are not the product of being homogeneous. Unity and harmony are the product of validating the differences that each of you beautifully are, so that all the differences fit together and create the whole picture. Diversity is the key. So the idea in being diverse as beings, in drawing from the diversity of multiple parallel dimensions of experience and reality to create your path in this life, is what's going on all the time. You are the product of infinite diversity every single moment. Billions of times per second are you redefining yourself. Literally billions of times per second are you going back to zero. Whatever the definition is in the next moment is what your reality is, changing the future and the past. Every single moment, billions of times per second. You are that free to go to zero and redefine yourself every moment. When you collectively gather and you have an agreement that you are in this powerful electromagnetic vortex that can act as an amplifier and a reflector and a magnifier for the energies that you bring into it, you have to understand, based on what we're telling you now, yes, in a sense, you can say, well, yes, Sedona is a vortex. You are the vortex. You are creating the energy. It is representative of your collective agreement about what you're truly capable of. What you're truly capable of creating with each other by serving each other and reflecting to each other what you truly need. There's that word again. What you truly need to be yourselves, to have a life of fulfillment and a life of joy. You deserve it. You're worth it. Do remember, all of you are worthy by the fact that you exist, because creation doesn't make mistakes. And if you exist, that means you're worthy of existence. It means creation needs you to exist for it to be all that it is. Those of you who might have experienced the idea of believing in your lack of worth, you're arguing with creation, and you will never win that argument because you cannot stop existing. So, don't keep pounding your head against the wall. I'm unworthy, I'm not deserving, because creation will never acknowledge that, ever. You cannot stop existing. Existence is your natural state. There is no room in non-existence for anything that exists. Non-existence is already full of all the things that will never exist. I'll put it another way. Listen carefully to the definition. Non-existence is its quality. That means non-existence doesn't exist. Existence exists. Non-existence doesn't exist. That's its primary quality, to not exist. So there's nowhere for you to go. You may change your form, but you cannot stop existing. That is your natural quality. It's the quality of existence itself. And what you call, what you experience as unconditional love is just your way of recognizing the actual frequency of existence. That's its core frequency, what you call unconditional love and support. You are constantly unconditionally supported by existence in whatever way you say is true for you. Fear-based, you're supported in it. Joy-based, you're supported in it. Because the support is what? Unconditional. Look that up in your dictionaries. It means no condition, none, zero. What you say goes. It's in your control. It's in your hands. Your greatest power is the freedom to choose. So choose who it is you prefer to be. Act in the way you prefer to act. Be the living example for others, to give them the option, the choice, the opportunity to see that there may be a more joyful way to live. It doesn't mean they have to buy into it. It doesn't mean they have to match your frequency. But at least give them the choice. Maybe someday they will remember the living example you provided and go, oh, I get it now. I can apply that in my life. Not that they have to. Again, remember, whatever you share when it's appropriate to share, whatever someone else does with that is none of your business. Because you don't know their path. You don't know what they have determined they need to experience to get where they're going. But just give them the option. Give them the choice. Let them decide when and where and how to use it. Remember, there's no rush. There's no hurry. You're all eternal, infinite beings. No hurry. Somewhere, somehow, somewhen, you'll get it. You don't have to get it now, but you can choose to. It's up to you. I guarantee you that when you do, your lives will be a lot smoother, a lot more joyful, a lot more creative, a lot more loving, and a lot more serving of all that is, that allows all that is to reflect that service back to you. So, the parallel realities that you constantly connect into, the other dimensions you become aware of, the other versions of your greater being that are living out their lives along with you simultaneously, side by side or overlapping, if you wish to put it that way, are there for you to mine as you need to, as they give to you and they serve you and you serve them by providing them more experience, more information, more energy, so they can draw from you what they need as you draw from them what you need. So we're talking about service across multiple realities. Service across multiple dimensions is your